Welcome back to Apple Mary and Denny's Lucky Apples. Today we're reading chapter 12. There it is. Dennie takes a hand.
Grandma, can't I go with you the next time you take your apple cart out, looking for poor people to help?
Dennie asked one day.
I'd love to have you, Dennie, but if people saw you along, they'd start asking questions.
Apple Mary explained.
And they might find out I'm wealthy now. But can't I ever go along?
Dennie's voice drooped in disappointment.
I've got it,
cried Apple Mary.
Louise will take you. That way, we'll cover twice as much ground.
Dennie told Louise about their plans, being careful not to give away Apple Mary's secret.
Isn't that exciting, Louise?
He cried.
Nonsense,
said Louise.
You'll probably be all worn out riding around those crowded, dirty streets. Take good care of him,
Apple Mary instructed Louise as the two started off.
He's my most precious possession.
Dennie directed Louise as she wheeled the chair through town toward their old neighborhood.
Let's start here, Louise,
Dennie suggested after a long walk.
It certainly is a run-down neighborhood,
Louise commented.
Now, how do we go about this detective work? Just walk along until we see some poor person,
Dennie instructed.
Look, over there, that little girl selling flowers. Let's go and talk to her.
Louise steered the wheelchair across the street, and Dennie spoke to the sad-faced little girl.
Hello. I'd like to buy some of your flowers. Why, it's Jean.
He was surprised to recognize a former playmate whose mother had always been able to support her comfortably.
Dennie,
cried the little girl, embarrassed at having him see her poverty.
Mother lost her job. She hasn't been able to find much work since.
She explained in answer to his questions.
I try to help, but it's pretty hard. Listen, come home with me, Jean,
Dennie suggested.
We've got lots of room. Oh, I couldn't do that. Mother wouldn't like it.
The little girl protested.
Bring her too,
Dennie urged.
Grandma wouldn't mind.
At this point, Louise felt that she must interrupt the planning.
Dennie, I really think you should ask your grandmother first,
she pointed out.
But honest, Louise, she'll be glad,
the little fellow declared.
Anyway,
he turned back to Jean.
Take this money. Oh, no, Dennie, I shouldn't,
she argued.
Go ahead,
Dennie insisted.
I want to buy all your flowers.
Jean looked at the little bunch of faded, drooping blossoms.
They're sort of wilted,
she stammered.
But
Dennie took them from her eagerly.
I think they're just beautiful,
he declared. As Jean hurried off to find her mother, Dennie turned to Louise.
Hurry, Louise. We'll have to find Grandma right away. It's a long way home.
Louise pointed out.
Let's find some others first. They can wait, Dennie
insisted.
Grandma's right around the corner with her apple cart. Apple cart?
Gasped Louise, now that the secret was out.
Dennie, is that old woman your grandmother? Well,
on the way to the apple cart, Dennie explained the scheme to Louise, whose admiration for Apple Mary grew with every sentence. Apple Mary turned in surprise as they drew near. Dennie, Louise, why, she stammered in confusion.
It's all right, Mrs. Worth,
Louise assured her.
Dennie told me all about what you're doing. I think it's grand. We've found Jean, Grandma.
Dennie burst out excitedly.
Her mother's lost her job, and they're awful poor. Let's help them.
Apple Mary turned the matter over to Mr. Sprocket.
Mr. Sprocket, I have a job for you,
she explained.
A friend of mine and her little girl are here in the city. She needs work. See that she gets it.
That was easy enough. But now Dennie brought up a harder problem.
Grandma, Bill Biff's out of a job,
he confided.
That's why he hasn't been coming around so much lately. I know, Dennie,
Apple Mary admitted wearily.
I've been wondering what we could do. It's harder to help your close friends without offending them. I've got an idea,
Dennie admitted.
Maybe you won't like it, though. Sure I will,
promised Apple Mary.
You've got grand ideas. Out with it. Well, Bill's awful good at one thing,
Dennie began.
Yes, fighting,
chuckled Apple Mary.
But I don't need any of that. Aw, Grandma, listen,
urged Dennie, leaning over to whisper in her ear.
Dennie, that's a grand idea,
cried Apple Mary when she had heard it all.
We'll do it, but not a word to anyone. Say, what are you two cooking up?
Demanded Bill Biff's voice from the doorway. He did not learn what their scheme was for several days, though. At last, Apple Mary called him over and led him to a front window.
We've got a surprise for you. Bill,
she smiled.
Look out the window. You mean the car?
Grinned Bill after a quick look.
Mary, is that bus yours? That bus
was a long, sleek new sedan.
Yes, and you're going to drive it for me if you want a job,
Apple Mary told him.
Want it?
Echoed Bill.
Boy! Ooh, that's the end of chapter 12.
Join me next time for chapter 13.
Helping Hands.
We'll see you next time.